Coming up, a preview of the MIVA tournament.
Plus, a discussion about LeBron James's influence on the NBA after his son declared for the NBA draft.
I'm Elizabeth Winchester.
And I'm Lucas Kihmm.
All this and so much more.
Rambler Sports Locker begins now. Welcome to this edition of Rambler Sports Locker. We'd like to begin with some breaking news. Orenthal James O.J. Simpson, the former NFL great and infamous suspect in a high-profile case in the 90s, died at the age of 76 Wednesday night. O.J.'s children released a statement on X that their father passed away after a lengthy battle with prostate cancer. O.J.'s stardom in the NFL and college was overshadowed after his accusation of murdering his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ron Goldman, in 1994. Millions of Americans tuned into his trial on TV. He was acquitted of the murders in 1995. O.J. resided in Las Vegas and was surrounded by family at the time of his death.
On Monday, Chicago experienced a partial solar eclipse that had people looking to the sky early in the afternoon. While some of us were looking up to the phenomenon, Loyola athletes continue to compete in competitions before the school semester ends. Joey Neese has this week's rundown.
Thank you, Elizabeth. The men's volleyball team ended their regular season with a win over number 14 ranked Lewis in all three sets last Saturday at home. The Ramblers ended their regular season with a record of 18-9, which earned them the number 2 seed in the MIVA tournament. The Ramblers will be welcoming the McKendree Bearcats to Gentile on Saturday for the quarterfinal of the tournament. Loyola and McKendree have faced each other twice already this season, with both teams winning 3 sets each. Stay tuned for more info on that game and the MIVA tournament later on in the show. The women's golf team also ended their regular season this past week as they finished 6th at the Dolores Black Falcon Invitational in Bowling Green, Ohio. Katie Meyer ended in 67th place on the individual side of the Invitational. The team will now focus on the MAAC Championship taking place in Orlando, Florida, April 19th through the 21st. The softball team responded well to a 4-game losing streak by winning their 3-game series against Rhode Island this weekend. In the final game of the series, Peyton Pepkowski threw her 6th shutout of the season as the Ramblers beat the Rams 6-0. The Ramblers return home this weekend as they open up a 10-game homestand with 3 against St. Bonaventure on Saturday. The first pitch is scheduled for noon. And that's a wrap on your Rambler Rundown. Back to you, Elizabeth.
Thanks, Joey. With the semester coming to a close, only 9 home games remain, including 1 men's volleyball match and 8 softball games. If you haven't been to a game yet, now's the time. The men's volleyball team last home game is tomorrow at 6 p.m. in Gentile Arena, while the softball team will play 3 games tomorrow through Sunday at the Loyola Softball Park. Admission is free and the teams always appreciate fan support. Evan Nave is here with more on a new transfer that the men's basketball team just acquired.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. The Loyola men's basketball team welcomed guard Justin Moore for the 2024-2025 season. Moore has played for the Drexel University Dragons in the past 2 seasons. During his sophomore year, he led the Dragons in scoring with 12.4 points per game. He also averaged 3.5 assists and 1.1 steals. He scored a career-high 34 points on December 22nd against Bryant University. During his freshman year, Moore averaged 9.6 points and 3.1 assists. As the Ramblers' newest guard, we wish him the best going forward. Back to you, Lucas.
Thank you, Evan. On Saturday, the Loyola men's volleyball team will compete in the MIVA tournament. Natalie King gives us a peek at the upcoming tournament.
Thanks, Lucas. The 2024 MIVA tournament is right around the corner. Coming off a 3-match winning streak, the Ramblers are the 2 seed and will play their first game at home against 7-seed McKendree. McKendree tied for 5th place in the regular season standings. The other first-round matchups include number 1 Ball State against number 8 Queens, number 3 Ohio State against number 6 Lewis, and number 4 Lindenwood against number 5 Purdue Fort Wayne. The Ball State Cardinals have claimed the regular season title for the 4th season in a row, while it's the first season for Queens as a member of the MIVA. Ohio State had success at the beginning of the season with a 6-match winning streak, and Lewis has won 4 out of 6 matches to end the regular season. Lindenwood's 4th place finish is their highest since joining the MIVA in 2013, and Purdue Fort Wayne is coming off a 3-match winning streak. The semifinals would take place on April 18th and the championship match on April 20th. Before they started gearing up for the MIVA tournament, the Ramblers played their last regular season game against Lewis on Saturday. Here's my coverage of the win.
I'm here in Drexel Arena where the Loyola men's volleyball team just defeated the Lewis Flyers in a clean sweep for their last game of the regular season and their senior day game. Here are your highlights.
Parker Van Buren led the Ramblers with 21 kills on 40 swings. Daniel Fabikovic added 11 kills and Dan Mangoon had 36 assists. The Ramblers have won 10 of their last 11 matches, the last 5 of which in straight sets. The Ramblers had 16 kills in the first set alone, bringing them to a 26-16 victory. A Loyola error in the second set had Lewis within 1 point, with the Ramblers up 10-9, but the Ramblers came back with a 4-0 run and an 8-4 run to win the set 25-18. Loyola started off the last set with a 6-2 run. Later in the set, Lewis had a 6-1 run, taking a 16-14 lead over the Ramblers. The Ramblers did not let this lead last and ended the set on a 5-2 run to win 25-21. This win was extra meaningful for the team's 7 graduates on senior night.
Thanks the world. Obviously seeing a lot of family and friends from all the seniors is really cool, and obviously we had a great crowd tonight, which is awesome. So it's just weird. That was my last regular season game. Obviously we have one next week here, but it's just weird.
As the team is heading into the MIVA tournament, 4 Ramblers have earned all MIVA honors. Van Buren has been named Player of the Year, and Fabikovic is Newcomer of the Year. They have both landed a spot on the All-MIVA first team. Mangoon and Nicodemus Meyer have been named to the All-MIVA second team.
The Ramblers will play in the MIVA quarterfinals this Saturday. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Natalie King.
Thanks, Natalie. I am so excited to see how the Ramblers do in the tournament, and I wish them all the best. Speaking of exciting tournaments, this past weekend at State Farm Stadium, UConn won the NCAA basketball championship game against Purdue by a score of 75-60. This now leaves UConn as NCAA tournament champions once again. The Huskies became the 8th team in NCAA men's basketball history to win back-to-back national championships, which is quite a feat. This is the first time a team has won back-to-back titles since Bulls coach Billy Donovan and Florida did it in 2007. UConn's coach, Dan Hurley, originally was rumored to join Kentucky, but now he has stated that he's definitely going to stick with the Huskies and try to bring them their 3rd title. Switching over to the women's side, South Carolina has claimed the NCAA Women's Championship by a score of 87-75 against Iowa. This game shattered the rating record for women's college basketball with 18.9 million viewers. They outdrew the men, who had 14.8 million viewers. Additionally, this game became the 2nd most watched non-Olympic women's sporting event on American television. Caitlin Clark believes this audience growth not only benefits basketball, but all of women's sports. This season has made significant impact on viewership, so we are hoping that that only continues. Even though March Madness is officially over, it is not too early to start preparing for next year. Many people are already signing up for early ticket access to the first few games that will be hosted in Cleveland. Make sure you guys don't miss out. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Anoushka Nair.
Thank you, Anoushka. All 6 of UConn's national championship wins have come after 1999. A remarkable feat.
That's a really impressive statistic. What's even more impressive is that the women's South Carolina basketball team became the 5th team in women's NCAA history to have a perfect season.
Well, now that college basketball is officially over, more basketball is around the corner as the NBA play-in tournament begins April 16. Kirstan Richardson has a breakdown of how the tournament will work this season.
Thanks, Lucas. The NBA regular season is almost over, which means that the play-in tournament is about to begin. If you're not familiar with the format, then let me help you. Teams that finish the season ranked 7th through 10th in each conference will enter the play-in tournament. The goal for these teams is to earn the 7th and 8th playoff seeds. Each conference's number 7 team will host the number 8 team. Winners of those matchups will secure the 7th seeds. Losers will get another chance to earn the number 8 seeds. Numbers 9 and 10 will face off, and winners of those matchups will advance to the final stage of the tournament. Losers will be eliminated. Losers of the number 7 and 8 matchups will host the winners of the number 9 and 10 matchups. Whoever wins this matchup will secure the number 8 playoff seeds. Losers will be eliminated. this is still a fairly new format. It was first played in the 2019-2020 bubble season. The format was formally introduced during the 2020-2021 season. Then it made it official in July of 2022. These are the current teams that could participate in the tournament, but that can change. The tournament takes place from April 16th through the 19th. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Kirstan Richardson.
Thank you, Kirstan. The season may be almost over, but that doesn't mean that there isn't more to talk about. According to a CBS article, the eldest son of basketball icon LeBron James declared for the 2024 NBA draft on April 5th. My co-anchor Lucas Kihmm and RSL reporters William Bazzone and Nate Keough will discuss this very topic on this week's Ramble. Take it away, Lucas.
Welcome back to another edition of The Ramble. I'm your host, Lucas Kihmm, here with William Bazzone and Nate Keough. On April 5th, the 19-year-old son of LeBron James Jr., otherwise known as Bronny James, officially entered the college transfer portal and declared for the NBA draft after playing one season with the USC Trojans. Bronny averaged 4.8 points and 2.7 rebounds while starting 6 of 25 games for the season. As Bronny looks to find a new team, whether it be in the professional or collegiate world, many speculate that his chances of making an NBA roster are at his advantage because of his father's prestigious status. In several interviews, LeBron has said that he will do whatever it takes to play on the same team as his son, regardless of his current membership with the Lakers. With LeBron's reputable status in the NBA, how much influence does he have on whether teams will draft or sign his son to a contract just to have LeBron on their team? William, let's hear your take.
Oh, LeBron, where do I even begin?
Uh-oh.
You are my sunshine,
not
my
yet.
only sunshine.
right,
I'm sorry, I had to go there. But to be all serious here, I agree with you, Lucas. I do think LeBron's power over an organization is very strong, right? I feel like, obviously being a Cavs fan and watching him come back for the second time, there was no GM there, there was no head coach there. LeBron was pretty much running the team in totality. And now we're seeing that with LA, not as much because there's a little bit more of an organizational control, but
Absolutely, you got Magic in the office.
Yeah, well, and a lot of other guys too, not just Magic. You know, there's just so much history there, so he kind of has to take a little bit of a step back. But I think his presence is still very much felt, and it's a lot different from other eras, right? Like we look at Michael Jordan, and even with The Last Dance, right? He clashed a lot with Jerry Krause at the end of like the dynasty, right? But he still knew his role as a player, and he wasn't like having pretty much complete control over an organization's decisions. At the end of the day, I think that's what it's got to be. It would still be cool, though, to see Bronny and LeBron Sr. play on the same team, kind of like how Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. played on the same team. But I'm sure there was not as much pull as this situation has. So just my 2 cents.
All right, Nate, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I got to agree with you there, Will. Yeah, I think LeBron certainly has a lot more control than I think any player ever had in history, and the Vegas favorite to sign Bronny is the Lakers. That's really no surprise. Excuse me. And then, yeah, to your main question, Lucas, for contenders that are looking at maybe getting Bron just for 1-2 seasons at most, I can't see him playing much more beyond that. I think he's 38, 39. 39, wow. Yeah, definitely maybe 2 years in him, I could see.
I think he could be like Brady, though. He could play for 3 or 4 more seasons because he's still at his physical peak. He's still performing night in and night out. I think it's possible.
He could go for a bit, but in interviews, he's teased 1, maybe 2 years, but I think it makes the most sense for him to go to the Lakers. But for teams I've seen like the Knicks, teams like the Heat, who are just kind of on the edge of contention, that move might make sense for you. To get Bronny, just to lure LeBron to your squad, that could be the superstar the Knicks are looking for. That could be the star the Heat are looking for. The Heat could bring him back. Even the Cavs could bring him back potentially. I think it might happen if he goes to a contender. But if Bronny doesn't go to a contender, the move doesn't really make sense for Bron, and I don't think it would be a move to lure LeBron just to get him for a year or 2.
Do you think Bronny would even make a roster? I mean, he could make the team, but do you think, after training camp and everything?
In my opinion, 4.8 points, I'm going to say no. I think his best option is to go back to college. I do like that he entered the transfer portal. I think he'll get a lot more playing time.
Absolutely.
The main schools that he's been rumored to go to are Oregon, Ohio State, and then Duquesne. Duquesne has a lot of personal roots
Drew Joyce.
for him there. Yes, Drew Joyce taking over as coach of Duquesne. So we very much could see Bronny take on our Ramblers next year. I personally would love to see that, and he'd get the most playing time there. So I don't know. I'm not an expert, but I think the best move for Bronny is to go back to college.
William, do you think he should go to the NBA or college?
It's tough because, I mean, I'd like to see them both play together. It'd be cool, but I don't think it's a necessary thing. Nate, you kind of brought it up. If he went to Duquesne, again, that would be LeBron's doing, right? Because he could be like, hey, put my son on your team, right? I mean, obviously, Bronny has his own free will, but I feel like even with his recruiting process, right, Bryce James is like a 4-star recruit. Bronny was 3 stars, but then like they kind of felt like they had the pressure to be like, oh, it's LeBron's son, bump him up you know what I mean? I think for the NBA, I don't think he's ready, but I want to turn to Colin Cowherd real quick. And his quote this week, you know, if you're already paying LeBron $180 million, if you sign Bronny for $1 million, you're basically giving LeBron $181 million.
I see.
Is there the nepotism argument? I don't know, but it's still something to consider when you know, LeBron James is your dad. It's basically just giving your dad a little extra bonus. Hey, here's your son to play on your team. Happy birthday.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what decision Bronny's going to make. And
Where do you think he's going to go?
Where do I think he's going to go? I mean, I think he should go back to college. But, you know, LeBron James did put out a message on Twitter, I think, or he released a statement recently that said, you know, Bronny's going to have a lot of time to think. And obviously with his dad's pool, you know, he really, I mean, he can go to any college he wants to and get a free education there.
Absolutely.
Probably play, probably even make a starting roster. So I think it would be smart for him to, you know, get onto to a team where he can start and get more experience.
I think that's a good point. Absolutely.
Well, I'm looking forward to see where he's going to play next season, whether it's at the collegiate or professional level. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you all for your comments. I want to take us back in time to 2 interesting events in Chicago sports. That's right, it's time for another edition of This Day in Sports History. In 1938, at the Chicago Stadium, the Stanley Cup final featured an historic showdown between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Despite a challenging regular season, the Blackhawks soared to victory, defeating the Maple Leafs 4-1 in Game 5, securing a 3-1 series win. Remarkably, this victory solidified the Blackhawks' status as the only team to clinch the cup with a losing regular season record, etching their name in hockey history. In 1960, an interesting innovation took center stage as Chicago White Sox owner Bill Veeck unveiled the exploding scoreboard at the Chicago Comiskey Park. This interactive light-up billboard enhanced the stadium experience, captivating fans with its dynamic and interactive features. That's all for now for This Day in Sports History. Even on a seemingly random day, there's always seems to be some type of sports history.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I love hearing about Chicago sports history.
Those are just some of the incredible stories from Chicago sports history. It's always fascinating to look back and see how these moments have shaped the sports landscape.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a reminder of the rich heritage and innovation of the Chicago sports scene.
Exactly. On that note, that wraps up this episode of Rambler Sports Locker.
To stay up to date on all things Rambler Sports, be sure to follow us on X, TikTok, and Instagram at Loyola RSL, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
From all of us here at Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Elizabeth Winchester.
And I'm Lucas Kihmm.
We'll see you next week, and don't forget to turn off the lights.